Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to do the 9,000 mile update for my 2018 Crosstrek. But since there's not a whole lot to talk about over the last 1,000 miles, I really had nothing new come up. I'm going to focus this video mostly on the Method wheels and the BFG KO2 tires. Here on YouTube and in email, the questions I get the most are about the wheels and tires and all the different aspects. So I thought I would go over that briefly and then kind of give you an update or a review of how the tires and the wheels have been over the last 1,000 miles. Over the last 7,000 miles. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to check out the other Crosstrek videos I have here and the other stuff on my channel. As always, thank you so much for watching. Let's get started with the video. Like I mentioned in the opening, this is officially the 9,000 mile update. But since there's really not much to talk about, we are going to mostly talk about the wheels and tires and kind of give you a review of how they've done over the last 7,000 miles. Real quick on the 9,000 mile update. From the beginning, I've been trying to do 1,000 mile updates for you guys just to kind of give you an idea of how the car's doing. And really everything has been status quo. No major services, no issues. I haven't broken anything lately. I haven't run into anything. I haven't dented my car. So that's all good news. And I can say that my Apple CarPlay is still working. I like to mention that every one because there were so many problems initially. And I want to say I just read that there's a recall or there's something. They did mention a recall or a very heavy duty service bulletin for the head unit. So Subaru knows there's a problem. You know, I've been very fortunate that I haven't had massive problems with mine, but I know people who have. So, you know, if you're having a lot of problems with your head units, make sure you get in touch with Subaru and see if you can't get that figured out, because it's just ridiculous that there's so many problems. Hopefully the 19s are better sorted. I haven't really heard any major complaints about the 19s at this point. So hopefully they're doing better with that. The only other real small thing I want to mention, I think I've mentioned it before, is my passenger seat. Depending on where it is, if it's in the wrong, like if it's in one certain position, it tends to rattle. And the strange thing about that is my 14 Crosstrek was exactly the same way. And the only, you know, to cure it, all you gotta do is just click it back one and it doesn't rattle. When someone's sitting in the chair, it doesn't rattle. So it's not massive, it's not all the time. And in fact, I'd kind of forgotten about it until I drove to work and home this morning. I noticed that it was making the noise, like, oh yeah, I forgot that that's doing that. So really, that's the only thing to mention as far as the 9,000 mile update goes. Other than that, car's ticking along, doing great, no complaints. All right, so on to the Method wheels and the KO2 tires. So I have the Method race wheels VT spec. They are plus 15 offset. They're 5x100s, and they're the 15-inch wheel. I got them in black. There are some new styles available. If you check out 18 Crosstrek Man's site, which you can find the link on my front page, he got a new set of Method wheels that they developed. It's a little bit different style, which is nice looking as well. So check out his site. And then Hijack Secondary got the Rhino wheels. I think that's what they're called. And his website, you can also link from my front page. So really two other styles that are really cool that kind of complement the Crosstrek and other vehicles. He has the Hijack Secondary has a really cool, I think it's a 15 Forester. My tires are BFG KO2 215 75/15s. You may realize that, hey, the normal Crosstrek width is a 225 tire. Why did I go with 215s? And the real reason is BFG does not make the KO2 in 215 and the size that we need. You have the 235 or you have a 215. So that's why I went with 215s. I didn't want to mess with the 235s because of weight. And at the time, I wasn't 100% sure they weren't going to rub anything without a lift. So I went with 215s. So you're looking at about maybe a ½ inch or so narrower than stock. And when with the tires on the car, I don't think you look at it and think they look narrow. They look fine. And one of the other questions I get a lot, why did I switch from stock 18-inch wheels and tires? And honestly, the main reason is I wanted more sidewall for off-road. If you're familiar with the channel at all, you see that I go off-road quite a bit. And most of it's just driving on dirt roads. But we have a lot of rocks around here. And if you watched my very first video when I was in Reddington, you saw I damaged a wheel and trashed a tire really quickly when I first got my car. And it was kind of a fluke because the road was really nice. The graders had been grading. They had piled up a bunch of dirt in the middle of the road, and there was a big rock hidden in the dirt. I had to change lanes because the grader was on one side, and I just clipped the rock just right. And that short sidewall, it just compressed and kind of dinged the rim and trashed the tires. So that's really the main reason why I went to the Methods in 15-inch. Also, the look is cool, but you know, I do some off-roading, and I wanted a more aggressive tire than just the kind of standard road tire that Subaru puts on there. So let's talk about possible negatives with this setup, and have I really run into any. The only negatives that I've come across so far, number one, the big one, and I mentioned it before, is how loud the new setup is. 4 to 5 decibels louder over stock on the same road. And you know, it's one of those things that you kind of get used to. And some guys who have roof racks have mentioned that they didn't even notice the noise because the roof rack is already kind of loud. So you may be a person that it doesn't bother at all. For me, it still bothers me some. I am used to it, and you know, it's not so bad that I want to take them off. If I go maybe drive up somewhere for 3-4 hours, I might want to get rid of them and put the stock setup back on just for that trip. But overall, it kind of fades into the background. I don't notice it anymore. A couple other minor things to mention as far as, you know, possible negatives. Number one would be just a slight bit more understeer with the Methods and the KO2s. And that's basically just due to the thicker sidewall, or the taller sidewall, I should say. And then under braking, like hard braking, not necessarily like panic braking, but hard braking, you're going to get a little bit more squeal than you will with your stock setup. There's no issues with traction, whether it's rain, dirt, mud, etc. I haven't found any problems with traction, but just that extra noise under hard braking, like, you know, more than average hard braking. So that's something to consider. So the last thing I wanted to show you is this tire calculator, and you can see on top is the stock limited tire and wheel size, and then below is the size that I got. And you can see that the diameter and the circumference are basically the same. So there's not going to be any effect to your speedometer, and there's not going to be any problems with actually using the spare tire that came with the car. So you're all good to go there as well. Let's head outside, and I'll kind of give you a quick visual look at the tires and the wheels, and I'll show you the damage, and we'll go from there. Here we are outside, and this is the one wheel I wanted to show you real quick that has a little bit of damage to it. And you can see right in here just a little bit of a scrape, and I must have just hit something, rock, something, who knows. But the rest of the wheels, no damage at this point. I think I'm just going to probably use a black Sharpie to cover that up for now. And here's a look at the tread, and really no wear or tear, no tears, no chunks taken out, none of that kind of stuff. And it's the same. This front wheel here I turned so you can see it a little bit better. But these guys have been great. The reviews say 60,000 miles, so I'm hoping to get that. We'll see how it goes, but that's the plan anyway. Alright guys, so that kind of wraps it up. Hopefully that quick review on the Methods will help those of you who are looking for new wheels and tires. And as always, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.